maybe you're someone who perceives themselves as very needy, very clingy. You hate that about yourself because you have a feeling that everyone around you is avoiding you. If you get into a relationship, it's usually with someone who you feel is always trying to slip through your fingers. And it's heartbreaking. I mean, it feels humiliating to know that you're there and that person or these people are always avoiding you or running away from you. So, first of all, if you have that, you may perceive your neediness and clinginess as the problem, but it's not. The fact that you need another human being, the fact that you cling onto another human being, that's just human nature. That's the most natural thing we do as humans. Even though I have to say that in this era, it's not sexy to need another human being. What has become sexy is to need no one, to be very autonomous, right? To be like, I'm just in my bubble. I can live in my bubble and I can do everything on my own and I don't need you. That's what has become sexy. So a person like you will suffer from that. And if you suffer from that, it's not because it's wrong to cling onto another human being. It's because it's unhealthy, the way our societies are going. And the level of unhealthiness, this need to be in this bubble, to want to show to everyone, to prove to everyone and to oneself that, I don't need anyone, I can do everything on my own, is really based on unhealth. It's based on a wound. And one of the biggest symptoms of this wound is the level of addictions that we have. Like the addict archetype. Man, I mean, that is one archetype that is not sleeping at all. It's hyper busy everywhere, all over the place, in so many countries, all over the world. The whole economy, most of it, is actually based on addictions, on addictive behaviors. And this is because there's this problem with loneliness. There's this problem of this fashion or trend to want to show to the other, I don't need you, I can do everything on my own. Based on a wound, but it looks so good at first glance, right? I mean, I don't need anyone. Looks good, but it's not natural for a human being because we are social animals. And you with that trait, and there's a lot of people like that, a lot of people who naturally have this tendency to bring in other people, who naturally need to have other people, who naturally want to cling to other people. And people like you are reminding the whole world that we really need the other, that we need to hold on to the other. I mean, we can't really survive on our own. I mean, look at everything that is happening. I do need the other person, for example, for the things that I don't know how to do, right? And I do need people's touch. I do need, I mean, it's something that is very natural. It's just that we have forgotten about it. And we are living in places where it's very unhealthy for human nature. And so this is the first thing I want you to always remember. The second thing is that, yes, there is something that you need to heal in order to be able to bring in people into your life and to maybe show people in your life that needing other people is okay. It's actually beautiful. It is our nature. And there's something to heal. And that something is coming up in your life through your relationships. If you are in relationships where there's these people coming up and they're avoiding you, they're avoidance, they're dismissing you, they're dismissing your needs, your wants, etc. There's nothing random about that. What it is showing you in that moment is a part of you that is actually dismissing that needy, clingy part of you. They are a part of you. You've just not, you're seeing that part outside. You haven't owned it inside. Right? And this is, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. When you are in a relationship, in an interaction with another person, what is it that you're doing in that moment? Because if you are in your full self, in your healthy self, let's say, and when I say healthy self, in an integrated self, that you know that there's needy, which means that you have certain needs, right? Clingy, which means that you have that need to hold on to another human being. That's what it is, right? In that moment when you are in interaction with other people, is it something that you show to other people? Are you open? Is your heart open to showing that part of you, the needs, the need to hold on to other people, to have them? Are you clear about that? And maybe you'll tell me yes. But if you have that avoidant over there, then no, that's not possible. Because what may be happening, and see if that resonates with you, is that when you are with that other person, what you're doing is that energetically, you'll start becoming hyper alert. And you will become like this. It's like you have an antenna. And that antenna is reading everything about that person. And not out of curiosity, not because you want to know them, but because you want to know how, you have this aim, how to be liked by them, how to be accepted by them, right? So what you're doing is that you are energetically, you're going out of you. That person will feel burdened by your energy. They will feel imprisoned, restricted. They'll feel like they want to just, go out of there, like slip out of there. They will not feel good. I know it sucks to hear this, but if you want to heal, you need to be clear about your reality, because then you'll know how to change it. You'll know what to do about it. But in that moment, you're taking every part of you. You've just abandoned yourself in that moment. You've just dismissed yourself, and you're focusing on their need, on their wants, so that you can mold into what they want, into something that will be liked by them, and then they will not leave you, right? So there's this feeling, it's like your energy is holding them prisoner, and you can be doing this in this way. There's another way that it's done. There's almost like there is this need that you have, and it's so strong, and you will force it on them too. You will want to hold them, right? And then you will force it on them. And why you're doing that in that moment, it's because you yourself, you yourself are dismissing your needs and wants in that moment. But you can't, you want to dismiss them, you can't. So they slip from your hands and they go onto them, right? Let me say it again. If you have a need, if you have a want, if you have a desire, you can't get rid of it. It's an energy. It started and it will not stop, right? It will just go on. So if you don't align with it, what will happen is that you will start getting that need, that want fulfilled in a very shadowy way. Which means that you'll start manipulating people into giving that to you. And that is one of the things that you're also doing in that moment, right? So the first one, as I said at the beginning, the first one is that you want them to like you, right? So instead of being very clear about the fact that, okay, I want to be liked. I want somebody that likes me. I mean, we all want that. It's like there's nothing new about that. So instead of owning that and saying, okay, this is what I want, so I'll show up as I am, and then I'll see who likes me, and then we'll have an interaction and see how that goes, right? And that's a very vulnerable state, but that's the healthy state, right? So you're showing up, you're giving that person a chance, you're being very clear about what you want. I mean, you're showing it even, right? And you're going towards what you want. And so you're seeing this person, no, this person, yes, maybe this person halfway. There's something between you. There's a nice energy between you in this state, but not in the other. And so you start going towards what you want. You're not manipulating. You're being very clear. You need to know, you know what you want. You go for what you want. And then suddenly it's about connecting with the other person and aligning with their needs, right? And so you get towards what you want. And now suddenly you have that relationship that you want. You have that support that you need, etc., right? But when you're not clear about it, you go into these manipulative states where you're not going to tell them anything. You're not going to be clear about what you have, what you want, but you will start energetically holding them prisoner, and you start monitoring them, asking them questions and this and this and that, so that you can get what you want. And you'll never get it. And that's why they go away, they avoid you. And when they avoid you, I know that hurts. And that is something to go into, and I'll talk about it later on. But in that moment, that's actually a mirror. That is the universe, let's say, showing you something about you that you need to be aware of. And one of the biggest reasons why this happens is that we haven't really learned how to identify our needs. We haven't learned how to identify our boundaries, right? It's not something, I mean, where do you learn that? At school? I mean, where do you learn that? Nowhere, right? And so we have all these needs, this energy that comes out, and then we don't know what to do with that. And so there is this, we dismiss it, you I don't know why I went into we, but you dismiss that energy. You want to dismiss it, you can't dismiss it, and so it becomes this vicious cycle, right? And so it's up to you in this moment to start seeing where is it that you're avoiding yourself. And you start with the interaction I told you about. In this moment, when you leaped out of yourself onto the other person, you just avoided yourself. You just dismissed yourself. So go back into that moment And go back into that moment and start feeling into you. Start seeing, what is it that is happening in that moment in me? Own it. Take responsibility for that in that moment. You will start seeing that maybe you weren't feeling very good in that moment. Maybe you're not used to being in yourself. You actually don't like dwelling in yourself. And maybe there's a part of you that is like, okay, this is so shitty here. Let me go there, and maybe somewhere there I'll find something. But you just, in that moment, you dismissed that feeling of discomfort you were in. And that will not feel good. And maybe in that moment, when you see that there's that dismissive energy, that person that is showing this dismissive energy, right? That is the moment where you can feel into yourself and see and feel into that pain of having been dismissed. And being with that, not dismissing it. I know it's easier to dismiss because at least for a moment you won't feel it. But it's always there. And it will catch up to you at some point. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. Because by dismissing it, you're nourishing that pain. Because it's like you're slapping your pain. So there's more pain. Another slap, there's more pain. Another slap, there's more pain. So at some point, you'll have to turn around and feel into that. And when I say that, it's like really take a moment, go back to that moment where you felt dismissed, where you started leaping from yourself and going towards that person. And feel into what is happening there. What is happening in your body? What are the sensations that are coming up? What are the thoughts that you have about yourself? Maybe you believe firmly that you can't have what you want. It's just impossible. And so write it down. Own it. Start looking at it. How does that make you feel? Where is it lodged in your body? Where's that sensation? And then ask yourself, is it true? And maybe the first answer is going to be yes. You have proof there, right? But I would ask that question over and over again. And let the answer come to you. Really, let the answer come to you. Maybe the answer will be, you can actually have what you want. And this situation is taking you there. This is just a bridge, a gate through which you need to go. Because you're not ready yet to hold that type of relationship. You're not holding yourself yet. But this is where you're learning. This is where you're strengthening yourself. And if it's relationships, you know, that the need for a relationship, to cling on to somebody, to be with somebody, to be with many people, well, maybe the road there is by first connecting with yourself, clinging on to yourself, right? And being okay with that. Owning it, not being ashamed of that, and then showing that to the other people, because that's who you are. And maybe later on you'll see that one of the first parts of you that has been dismissed is the little one in you. And that little one needs to be re-owned. That little one needs to cling on to you. That little one has needs and wants that have been forgotten, right? That need to be fulfilled. And maybe the first one is for you to be with that little one in you. Right? Maybe that little one is just seeing mommy and daddy everywhere. It's like, no, they will give me what I want. I know one day they will. And in that moment, you can show it that, yes, it starts with you. And so, by going back into the moment where you felt dismissed, you're actually re-owning the part of you that learned to dismiss your needs and wants. You're re-owning the part of you that learned that you can't have what you want. And you can't have the relationships that you so need, so want, right? And that's your first relationship, incredibly, right? And so you take that part in, and maybe that will be your biggest ally. Because instead of that part, once healed, instead of that part just shoving you onto how can I say it? Shoving you onto any dismissive person around, or shoving the needs onto other people because they don't like it, they don't like them, they're dismissing them, right? I'm sure there's a better way to say it, but that part will help you discern people who are genuinely there for you from people who are not, right? They'll be dismissing them, let's say. And so I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below. And if you want to work with me on this challenge that you're going through, then there's a link down below and you can book a session with me.